Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. And today I want to talk about why it's important for us to have an emergency fund. Having an emergency fund is critical now in 2023 and probably for the foreseeable future if you didn't have one before. So what is an emergency fund? An emergency fund is rainy day money for exactly what it says. When things happen that you weren't expecting and you need money to cover something that is unexpected, right? So emergency funds will differ in their amounts. If you are an employee, if you are someone who goes to work and is paid on a weekly or bi-weekly basis because you exchange your time, it's recommended that you have a 3-month savings account for an emergency. And then if you are someone who is self-employed and a business owner, it's recommended that you have 6 to 12 months for a rainy day because you don't have that paycheck coming in every week or every 2 weeks. And I can attest I've had both, and both of them are sufficient. Now that I have been on my own for 3 months, things have happened and they are very unnerving because it's like, I don't have a paycheck coming in every week anymore. And I'm at a high stress level, but then I have to remember, wait, begrudgingly, you do have some money saved, so you can just use that, and it hasn't put too much of a kink. It's annoying, but I'm grateful that it was there. So the number one reason why every one of us should have an emergency fund is that it gives you peace of mind. I just spoke about that, how things have just happened the last month. August was a really weird month for me, and or 2 months ago, and it just gives you the peace of mind when things happen. You are going to be aggravated, but you can at least go to sleep knowing that when you wake up, you will not perish, number one, and you have the ability to live to fight another day because you have something and you can make a plan, right? Number two reason why is that, and the most practical is probably the first thing you think about, is that it handles life inconveniences. Things are going to happen, right? Just small things or even larger things. But number one, it covers an insurance deductible. If you have a 3-month saving at minimum, you should be able to cover a $500 to $1,000 insurance deductible, whether it's for your car, your home, or insert whatever other type of insurance it is. Like, I hate the thought of my deductibles, but in my head, that's what I use my emergency fund in. And a few years ago, when my car was totaled and someone hit my car, did I have to pay a deductible? I did, because I did a claim, right? I did a claim. And I had the money because I've always had like an emergency fund. It wasn't, I think it was 1 month at the time, but at least I had something. So number one, it's an insurance deductible like killer. You don't have to worry about it. So even if it's $1,000 and you cringe, if you have 3 months, you should have at least $1,000 in your emergency fund. Another thing that it gives you peace of mind of is that, and it handles the inconveniences, is that, you know, things will happen to your home. You may need a plumber to come. You may need an AC technician to come. All of those things suck. Everything sucks. You may have a leak in your bathroom like I had in August, and I talked about, I believe, in my last video. All of that may happen. And as unnerving as it is, that $500, $300 amount that you're gonna have to pay to figure out what's going on and get a diagnostic, you have it. You weren't planning for it, but that's why it's there. So as much as it's like, oh God, another thing, that's what it's there for. It handles life's inconvenience. Number three reason why you should get it is because it stops us from racking up credit card debt. So all the things that I just talked about, if like you have something going on with your car, you can have something going on with your home, or something happens with your license, or insert emergency here. If you don't have the emergency fund, you're gonna put it on, I'm gonna put it on my credit card. I know I will. And I hate the thought of doing that because that leads us to paying these credit card companies the 17 to 25% in interest that they charge us. And that's what they are hoping for. And it's nice to know you have the emergency fund. You don't have to resort to credit card usage. And if you ever do, it's because it's like an immense amount. And I don't even know why anyone would do it, but I guess at that point you can. You've done everything you can to mitigate the issue, and then I have to use my credit card. But I had things prepared before I even went to that level. And these credit card companies, long term, it's going to cost us a lot of money in interest, and it's going to stop us from getting ahead financially. And that's what anybody really wants to do, I would imagine. Anyone who like wanted to have like an easier future for themselves. Number four reason why it's good is that you can actually be there for other people. And that's not what you necessarily think of, but it gives you options, right? just in case, you know, someone, a family member, someone you deeply care about comes to you and they're like, oh, I need money. Let's say it's $500. Well, I can't give you $500, but here's $200. And it's not a loan. You don't have to pay me back, but that's it. The bank is closed. That's all I can afford to give you. It gives us options to be there for people that we care about. Versus like if you're strapped and you have no money, that's a sucky place to be, where you want to help someone you care about, but you cannot. And it's not that they're asking you frivolously, like they really need help, maybe to pay a light bill or whatever. Like, it gives us an option to be able to help people every once in a while and not allow us to be strapped for cash. Also gives you options. Let's say if you have opportunities to move, like there's a job opportunity, but it requires you to be without a job for like 2 weeks. You have some money to carry you over, or it requires you to have moving expenses that you weren't thinking about, but like the job opportunity is going to be such a boon for you financially. Oh wait, I have an emergency fund. So that's a really good thing about another good thing about having the emergency fund is that it gives you options. And then the last reason that I have is now you can make money off of it, because high interest, high yield savings accounts are offering 4 to 5%, baby. They are no longer half of that like they were a few years ago, like 3 years ago. They were like at 1.5%. They are 4 to 5%. So it's like, if you can, why not? Like it's not 7 to 8% like the stock market, but 4 to 5% is not bad. Homes appreciate in value 4%. On the high end, 8%, but on the low end, 4%. You can make money, right? And at this point, my high yield savings account pays me a good amount of interest, to the point where it can pay for like a bill of mine. A low bill, but it's a bill. And I'm like, oh, I like this. Money begets money. And in this environment, while it's here, because I don't know how long it's gonna last, but maybe in a year or two they'll be down to 3 or 2%. But when I first started it, which I think was like 2019, it was only 2%, and now it is like 4.25%. So why not put your money in a high yield savings account? Don't put it in your checking, like your primary banking where you have a checking account. Don't put it in their savings account, because that's no money. It's actually disrespectful. But get this money from these banks. Yeah. So I say all of that to say is that we all can find a way to save a little money. Even if it's $1 a day, it is doable, because $1 a day is $7 a week. If we're honest with ourselves, there is something that we can do. And I have some suggestions already. And y'all are gonna think this is ridiculous, but that's fine. The people in my life are not surprised by this, and y'all are now the people in my life, so y'all aren't gonna be surprised either. The first idea I have is like, okay, $7 a week, that's Uber Eats. If you Uber Eat like 3 times a week, that's not even half of what Uber Eats, for number one. So you can just not Uber Eat as much as you do. You could, let's say if you're grocery shopping and you're coming to the checkout line to cash out your groceries, take two or three things out of the grocery bin once a week. There goes your $7. And whatever, a streaming service. I don't know, Disney Plus, ESPN, if they have a Plus, Hulu, whatever. You can cancel that, because that's way more than $7. So there are ways that we can do it. I, now with my part-time job, have figured out a couple ways to save some money. My paycheck is not nearly close to what it used to be, but every paycheck I put something away. And I've always done that since I was my first job as a cashier in high school. Like, I always put $10 away for me, because it's like I was the person that came and stood up for hours. I'm gonna give me some money out of this paycheck, and everything else, whatever, but this is gonna be for me. I don't know what it's for yet, but you have to pay yourself first. And with time and consistency, it will grow into something where you can just kind of like, woosah, and be proud of yourself that you have an emergency fund. And it builds a behavior that when it does kind of dwindle because you've been taking some things out, you just restart that behavior. Because if you're an employee, you can stop at 3 months. You really don't have to do more than that. And if you're self-employed, you can stop at 6 to 12 months. You really don't have to do more than that. But in the event that it goes down, you have the behavior already done to replenish it. And it's all about behaviors that help us out in the long term. So do y'all agree with me? If you do, or if you do not, let me know in the comments. And also jot down some ideas of like what you would do if you disagree with my suggestions, because I gave like 2 or 3 suggestions, and you could think, okay, girl, you wildin'. If I'm wildin', tell me how you would do it, because I want some ideas too. You might give me some ideas about how like I can save some more money. Until next time, thank y'all for stopping by, and I hope you see the value in saving an emergency fund now. All right, take care.